everybody, and welcome to the Better Call Sukan podcast with Arif and Carl. Hi everyone, my name is Arif Daniel with my partner here, Carl, and we are your hosts for Better Call Sukan. Alright Carl, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a good day.
It's been a good day?
Yeah.
Alright, so that means we're gonna have a very nice recording session lah hari ni. So Carl, what do we want to talk about actually today? Or is it just us?
Oh, we have a third person on the sofa, so
Okay.
blending into the sofa.
Yeah. Yes. So I just nak cakap lah. I just want to say, before we mula nak record kan, tak adalah I'll just come in and sit down and then I don't know who's the guest. I don't know what topic we're gonna talk about. But our producer Anaf, Nut Boy, he said to all of us like what episode is like topic today, and he wrote there sports artist.
Okay.
I don't know about you because I wasn't with you, tapi I macam like, what is this? So and I did not know who is the guest. Macam artist in my head is like painting and all, right? Maybe it does he draw sports illustration ke apa ke, but I'm not sure. We get to know more later from the guest. But yeah, then we asked the guest who is here now, how are you a sports artist? Dia kata basically nanti dia akan cakap lah. Dia macam, dia kata tak kisahlah kita nak,
Dia macam-macam
lah.
Dia macam palette colour.
Yeah.
Macam-macam.
The palette, yeah. So like the palette does a lot of colours.
Yeah.
So himself is the palette, and he does all different kinds of sports.
All different kind of disciplines.
Yes. So I think
Let's paint into it.
Let's paint into this episode, and I can't wait to actually listen to his journey because the way he comes in, his charisma, nampak macam someone that is very young, has a lot of stories to tell.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think today is more like
from kopiah to Q.
Yes, I think it's a very macam, the story will be very entertaining, and I'm sure the audience as well. You guys can't wait for this journey, this sporting journey, like how I and yourself, Carl, are like fully enthusiastic to hear his story. So Carl, why don't you introduce to the audience who is our guest for today?
Alright, to color up this episode, welcome to the show, Viko Sulaiman.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Hi,
Mr. Viko.
Thank you for having me on.
So, yeah, thank you for coming. So, do we say Viko je ke atau Viko Sulaiman ke, or
You
like
can say Viko or Sulaiman or that guy or Botak or
Okay.
like, whatever you want to call me. It's alright.
Alright, so like I said just now in the introduction, it's a sports artist topic.
I love the way you put it on the palette. I never thought about like having the palette, different paintings, the different aspects of the different disciplines.
Yes.
But that's exactly how I feel. I feel like people think that things are so separate from each other that they have a hard time imagining that a dancer could be good at boxing. But in my experience in coaching people, the dancers are the fastest to pick up boxing.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're the fastest to pick up boxing because they have the full body coordination. They have the rhythm and the timing that you need in boxing. They have those aspects. Maybe they don't have the power aspects that other people might have, but between a ballet dancer and a rugby player, if you have 20 random dancers and 20 random rugby players, those 20 random dancers are going to pick up boxing faster. Pick up the movement of boxing faster.
Wait. You are saying that because of you have that experience of being a ballet dancer?
Just what I've seen. Just what I've seen.
Just
as
what
well.
you see.
Like from training 10, 20 dancers, from training rugby players.
Okay, so
That's just sorry to cut you off, Arif. That's just a teaser to what I think.
The teaser. So I did like, we know that from the short introduction, he is like a coach, an athlete as well.
Yeah, I'm actually just an athlete. I am so bad at coaching. I'm too
Okay.
like selfish a person to
So
go.
why don't we go back like from where it all began? Even like maybe the audience, when the listeners, when they are listening to this podcast, they were like, why is his accent a bit weird?
Oh.
Why he's not like the okay lah punya accent kan? So
Muka macam Melayu sikit lah.
muka dia macam Melayu kan.
Dah gang dah.
Dah style lah. Tapi like, kenapa suara, why is his voice is a bit different, his accent? So I'm sure orang yang accent different macam ni, to be here as our guest, mesti ada story punya.
Of course.
Yeah. A very great story. So why don't you take us back from the start? Like how?
From the start.
How did you start? Like
Loving sports and also eventually reaching here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Okay. So maybe we'll start with the accent.
Yeah.
Like my parents, my father and my mother, they're from Samoa. My mother is from Solomon Islands.
Solomon Islands.
Yeah, my father's from Samoa, but they grew up in Samoa. And then they met in New Zealand. When they met in New Zealand, they started a family. I was born in New Zealand.
Oh.
And then when I was about 3 years old, we moved to Australia. And I grew up in Australia. And now I've been in Malaysia for 7 years. So when I came here when I was
7 or 27 years?
7 years. So I came here when I was 27.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I've been here. I'm 35, so I'm old. But
Okay.
yeah, my life has been a good journey, enjoyable journey. Alhamdulillah, everything has been very fun. And in terms of sports, when I grew up, I was in a range of activities. I was in church choir. I did a lot of traditional Samoan dancing. I started playing. I saw my older brother playing rugby when I was young, and I just wanted to be like my older brother. So I started playing rugby when I was 6. And then from there, like from 6 years old, I started to learn about training, understanding the body, and then understanding like, these moves from dance, in Samoan dance, I can use in rugby as well. So
what is Samoan dance? Is it the haka before
like
you
haka, like similar.
before
But
you start
like,
the rugby? Is it?
yeah, but like would say the haka is like a war dance.
Okay.
Our dances are like, so when we go to another village,
Okay.
we would present them with a gift and we would do a performance for them. It's like a sing and dance performance.
Okay.
So there would be like 20, 30 people.
It's a
like,
cultural
Yeah,
thingy?
very cultural dance. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it would be like a 30-minute performance
Okay.
where we'd sing and dance and long, and it's ingrained into our culture. It's ingrained into me. So like people look at me and they easy to look at me and be like, oh, look at this big meathead. And sometimes I am a bit of a meathead, I guess. But I'm also like, I grew up in a very artistic, like theatrical kind of field. I grew up on the stage since I was 5, singing in church choir. So it was, for me, it's like natural to be able to go through all of these different disciplines. But I understand for a lot of people, it's a bit weird. Like it's a bit different for other people. But for me, it was just like choir practice in the morning, then rugby training at night. And that was just my life.
It's not surprising because me and Arif, we're actually, our background for sports is actually theatre.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we can
drama
relate.
gang, drama gang.
Yeah.
I was, drama student as well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed these things.
So while growing up, how you ventured into loving sports is through rugby.
Yeah.
So the Samoan dance has nothing to do with rugby.
Has nothing, but like in some of the dances, so you're doing some like footsteps and things like that.
Yeah.
And then when I'd get the ball, I would just practice like boom, boom, boom. Like, or when I'm at home, I would just be walking through my house, like walking through the hallways, just like practicing this. And then eventually it would become different moves in rugby. So this like step here, I'd eventually like turn it into a stutter step. So when I play rugby, I'm on the wing.
Okay.
So like I turn it into a stutter step. If I'm on the wing, it means like the sideline is here. I've got like 5 meters of space to work with. And then the defender, if he's, say there's like, I'm here, the defender is like 45 degrees coming this way and his hips are facing the sideline, then I can do that stutter step and cut back on the inside.
Okay.
But if he's coming downhill a bit more, then I can go in and then back out. So using those steps from the dance gave me like gave me the foundation of footwork to run around people, step around people. And it's something I didn't really like appreciate and realize until about 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, there's things in this. So like having those two disciplines that you might see as being different, but for me, I just see them as movement. I don't see this as tough, strongman discipline rugby and this as soft, like dance boy discipline.
Yeah.
I see them both as just movement disciplines. So how can I and that's from early on, so from there.
The passion grew.
Well, passion grew, but I just was good at it and I liked it. It was fun to run around people. It's fun to run. It's fun. I just like playing. I just like playing game. I just like playing sport, playing game, running around. It just makes me feel, even as an adult now, I'm a 35-year-old teenager almost. Because when I'm like playing, I feel free. I feel like joy. I feel like the joy of being a child playing when I'm just running around playing, I just can forget about all the stresses of the world.
Yeah, and when you're in like at the arena or the field, rugby arena, is it? Field.
Stadium. Or field,
You just forget and you just want to do the best that you can in the game, right?
Yeah, like in the game, like in the fight, in the game, in the performance, as long as I've been like honest with my preparation and as long as I've been like disciplined with my training beforehand, I will never feel nerves because the game is just an extension of the training. And I do it because I love it. I never feel nerves. I feel excitement.
Nice.
So what have you achieved or like as not like
achievements?
not
really.
achieved. I mean like personal goal.
Yeah.
Because you said like you've interconnected between movements, disciplines, and different types of disciplines together, and try to make it work. So that's your achievement, right? You feel like that's an achievement where you personally find the hack, maybe.
Yeah. I don't really look at it as an achievement. Like I just see it as a fun thing to do.
A fun thing.
Like I try not to. When I feel like when things get too serious, then I don't like it as much.
So the question is, why just rugby? Or is it you didn't go to different other sports when you were in the land down under?
When in the land down under.
Yeah.
No, in Australia, mate, we only got rugby, mate. No, like we have other sports, but I'm Samoan, so like. And we're very like rugby is our main sport. Like rugby players is our main export. Like Malaysia's main export is like oil, palm oil, and things like this. Samoa's main export is rugby players. That's
and wrestling.
And wrestlers. That's it. That's all we have. NFL players. That's it. So it's ingrained in our culture.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just intrigued of like you did mention from a young age until maybe high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so around the high school time period, how did that like? Because I do understand like some of my former classmates or even friends who are going through some high school experience. They go through like an identity crisis to understand who they are. So with your rich cultural background.
100%. 100% identity crisis. Because I was always like a taller kid. I was always fast, athletic, strong. It's not for me. Like when I say it, it sounds like I'm being arrogant, but like it's not for me. All from God. Like all from God, from my parents, from my genetics. So I had this from birth. It's not from me, not from anything I've done. It's not from anything I've done. All from God. And I didn't realize that at the time. And for me, I've always been like a joyful, happy, like soft, like kind of person. And when you're in the rugby environment, like people just want you to be so tough, like all the time. They want you to be, why are you so? You need to be harder. And like for me, I don't need to act tough because like acting tough is an act. But when it comes to time to be tough, when it comes to game time, I just switch it on. I'm a different person. I don't want to live with tension in my life. I don't want to live with tension or friction dealing with people in different ways. I would rather just be like submissive and let things just go with the flow and just like take things easy. But the world's not really like that. And when you're like a soft person, like it doesn't matter how big you are. If you're a soft person, lighthearted, people will always try to like poke you. You know, like people will always try to push you or cause friction. And people see like when you're soft, they're like when you're light and easygoing, they see it as like, oh, here's an opportunity to disrespect someone.
Oh, yeah?
And that's something I grew up with like a lot, you know. But when it came to game time, I would just, like, one of my favorite things about rugby is like how it taught me how to harness my aggression. So like I'd think about something happens on Monday, someone says something, someone does something to me on Monday, and I just like can laugh it off. But then on Friday night, when I'm thinking before the game and I'm excited before the game, I'm feeling pumped up. And then I think about like that thing on Monday. Oh, that guy said that thing on Monday. Or someone else on the other team that had nothing to do with it, he's going to pay for it. You know?
Wow.
So like now I have an outlet. Like I have an outlet for my aggression. It's given me an outlet for my aggression. So I don't have to express myself aggressively doing the day-to-day life. I can just be gentle, easy going and chill. And then that's one thing that rugby taught me that ballet has taught me actually. Like I always thought like aggression is the only emotion that you can harness. But then when I started doing ballet, like I started learning about other emotions that you can harness and put into your movement. Because like when you take these emotions and you harness them, it goes beyond what you can express with words. When I do ballet, I can take like the embarrassment and shame in my life and turn it into a beautiful feeling in my body, throughout my body. I can make and express, like this is what I mean by being an artist, like expressing myself in different ways. Not just, we focus so much on verbal communication. This is a podcast, so we're communicating verbally. But in ballet, the 4 years that I've been doing it, I'm just starting to understand non-verbal communication. And from that, like, I have embarrassment and shame from my life previous to ballet that I just was so... I had no understanding of non-verbal communication previous times.
Okay. But you did Samoan
dancing as well, yeah. And like crumping and breakdancing when I was a kid, like in
Okay.
high school and stuff like that. I always just loved dancing, yeah.
Okay. When did you started ballet actually?
Like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So after rugby in Australia,
Yeah.
so then you moved to Malaysia
Yeah.
for work?
Yeah, I came for a job, but I'm Mualaf, so I converted to Islam in 2013.
Okay.
Before that, like, I was really lost in my life. I enjoyed my life. I've had no problems.
Okay.
I've had a wonderful family, wonderful parents, wonderful siblings, wonderful role models. I went to a private school, went to a private university, but still
Lost.
not just lost, like dumb, like
Okay.
stupid, like just doing stupid things, making stupid decisions. Like, you know how some people can make good decisions and bad decisions. I was just making like the stupidest decisions.
Okay.
Like quite common, like quite often, you know. And one day I realized like, oh, I need to change. So I moved to the Gold Coast, enrolled in uni on the Gold Coast, went to
Alright.
Bond University there. 2 of my first friends were Malaysians actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so 2 of my first friends were Malaysians, and then from there, like one of them offered me a job here like 4 years later.
Is it related to sports?
No, the job was a tech job. So
Okay.
like it was a corporate job. Like I was in the corporate field for a bit, and it's just not for me.
I'm sure it's hard for someone who's very passionate, very cultural about you're from Samoa and like doing your sports and dance at Australia, and I'm sure it must be hard or tough for you to decide to move here.
You know, like
Yeah.
when I was living in Australia before I got the job here, so I became Muslim in 2013. I got the job in 2017, so it was 4 years later. But during that time, between 2013 and 2017, I was living in Bondi Beach, and it's not really a conducive environment
For sports.
for Muslims.
Oh,
for
I see.
Islam. So like when I got the job offer, I just thought, oh, that's a Muslim country. It'll be easier for me. Like the guy was like, oh, my mate was like, oh, I've got a job for you in Malaysia if you want. In my head, I was just like, oh, that's a Muslim country. It'll be easier for me to practice. And I was like, okay, yeah. Straight away, I was like, okay, I'm there. And then that's the main reason I came. The job was the offer, but the main reason was Islam.
Oh.
You know, and then from there, like, even being Muslim and converting and things like this, people will be like, oh, but like ballet's haram, and I'd have to be like, where's the hadith, bro? Like you're just giving like unwarranted fatwa. You know? So like there's always something to deal with, but the sports is just one aspect of my life that I've made a big aspect of my life. Because I love to just play games. I love to just move around. I love to be...
This reminded me of the episode that we had with Cristiano Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Several episodes back, and he did
Episode
share the
12.
story of how he actually converted in Malaysia. He's Brazilian.
Alhamdulillah.
He came here and he converted to Islam, and he did share a very good chunk of the time during that podcast episode about how he discovered Islam. So, do you mind sharing that story?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
So like, my favorite athlete all time is Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
So when I was about 10 years old, 11, like driving to school every morning, we would pass this big billboard that said, if you see the world the same at 20 as you did, if you see the world the same at 50 as you did at 20, you've wasted 30 years of your life. And then said Muhammad Ali after that.
Okay.
And
Wow.
every day driving to school, I'd see it. And it would be like 7:30 in the morning. And I'm like 10 years old. I read it every day and I'm like, Muhammad Ali, what does that even mean? Like, what are you even talking about?
Okay.
But I would just see it every day.
Yeah.
And then eventually it just clicked. It was like, oh, it means you can like change your situations. If you don't like something, you can change your situations. You don't have to wait 30 days, 30 years. You don't have to wait 30 days. You can change it in an instant. So that's always... That's the first like quote that I've been able to like break down in the sense and understand. So for that's given me the ability to just sort of move freely and think, oh, I don't need to be attached to things so much. I can just move freely, and if I don't like something, I can change it. You know, I have the power to change it. I have the power to change my mood. I have the power to change who I'm around. I have the power to change anything I don't like in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. So that from there, that gave me the seed, that planted the seed to Islam, because that's the first time I'd heard of anyone named Muhammad.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like after that, when I was in high school, it was about 13, 14, I read a book about Muhammad Ali, and it said, one quote said, Cassius Clay, who Muhammad Ali was before his name before he converted, he said, Cassius Clay is the greatest boxer ever, but Muhammad Ali is the greatest humanitarian ever. And the only thing that changed was his name, him becoming Muslim. And at the time, like me in Australia, I felt like I was suffering from a lot of racism. I really struggled with it. I really struggled with that in Australia.
Okay.
And from there, it made me think about Muslims. Like, at the time, it was just shortly after 9/11. So I thought, oh, maybe all I'm hearing in the news about Muslims is like the similar like racism that I'm experiencing.
Oh,
So
okay.
it opened the door up. So like the first quote was like the seed, and then I'd say this part was like the roots growing.
Okay.
Now, when I moved to Bond University on the Gold Coast in 2010, I started making friends with like Arab Muslims, Malay Muslims. I started making friends with Muslims. They would be always so inviting. And like when we sit and talk and discuss things and hang out, that we'd always just hang out, have like some hot drinks and some food and stuff like this. And they'd invite you to your house, you take your shoes off when you walk in. I mean, like, sorry. But like it felt the same, similar hospitality that I'd had with my people, with the Samoan people. And the Samoan people, we have a thing called Fa'a Samoa, the Fa'a Samoa.
What is that?
The Samoan way,
Okay.
which is like how you act, how your actions and your behavior and how you conduct yourself along
Attitude
around
lah.
other people. Your attitude,
Yeah.
but not necessarily attitude. Sort of like
Upbringing.
your manners and things like
Okay.
this.
Way of life.
Your way of life
Okay.
and your hospitality and things like that. Like how you speak to elders. If elders come to your house, you have to serve them hot drinks and you have to serve them something to eat. You know, the children and the parents won't even say anything. You just have to get up and do it. The children have to do it. You know, when you walk past someone, you have to say too low. That's like excuse me. So if you're stepping past someone, you have to like make sure that you say too low, like to them. If you're younger, and the adults are chatting, you have to filer mu, which is like be quiet, be peaceful, like be calm. You know, filer mu is like a big thing about the Samoan way, the Fa'a Samoa, like be calm, be chill. You know,
So you saw a lot of similarities between
a
both
lot of
worlds.
similarities
Okay.
between like my culture and the Islamic people. Like, and the Islamic people, like they may be Arabs, they may be like European, they may be like Malays or Asians, but they all seem like to be similar. Like
yeah.
they all acted in a similar way. So like, they all acted similar way to the Samoan way. So that gave me a bit more like of an eye opening. And then one day it was like Ramadan, and they're giving out free food, and I was like, "Yeah, dog, I'm here." Like they're giving out free shawarma. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, tell me all about Islam, you know, please. Like, let me know." Like, do I have to convert to get this kebab? And they're like, "No, of course not." I was like, "Okay, I'll just take the kebab." And then I watched them pray, and then from there I was just like, "This seems really nice. This seems like because." In my home, in my family home, and in the Samoa, we have something called loku every night.
Okay.
Loku means prayer.
Okay.
So we have family prayer. So like throughout my life with my father, maybe I've had like 2 conversations that are longer than 2 minutes.
Okay.
But every morning and every night, my father would just freestyle like a 15-minute prayer in Samoan. He'd just off the top of the dome, he'd just be like, "Yeah, my Lord, like thank you so much for all of the blessings." Like he just pray for us, pray for our family and stuff
Okay.
like that. Before that, we'd sing a song, we'd sing a church hymn together.
Okay.
So we'd sing like Wasaona Oli Oli Ne, like we'd just sing a song together. Like because we're in the church choir as well, like I have an older brother, myself, older brother, older sister, myself, and a younger brother, and my mum and dad. So we all know our different parts of our choir. So like when we sing and harmonize, singing for me, we sing every night and we sing a hymn every night. And people would think when I'm singing, like I'm trying to show off or like, "Oh, you want to be a star" or something. I'd hate, like, I have no interest being a star, but singing is just good for my soul because it's something that I've done with my family thousands of times. And since I've been here on my own, it's like difficult. So I just sing on my own. But there was a touch rugby league, the touch rugby World Cup. The Touch Rugby World Cup was here a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And the Samoan team came, and I joined them for evening local, and we sang a pese. We sang a pese together. We sang a pese together.
What's
Pese
a
is
pese?
song. Pese is song.
Okay.
Pese loku, so a church song.
Okay.
We sang one together, and like when we were singing, I just like started breaking down, crying. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like there's sometimes you don't even know you miss something until you're doing it. And then because we'd never had church practice before, but they just started singing a song. I was like, I know this exact song. I know the exact words to it. And we sang it the exact same way that my family sings it, you know. I'd never met these people before.
Ah.
Yeah, so
Beautiful.
like this, but getting back to Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the similarities between the Fa'a Samoa and Islam. We pray every night. So it was easy for me to convert, like easy for me to see God, you know. I grew up, my father is a minister.
Okay.
So like he's a minister in the church, he serves in the church. And then one day when I'd moved to Sydney, I was working with my good friend's father. He's a pro boxer. His brother is a pro boxer. Their combined record is like 40-0.
Okay.
But he's also got his own law firm, and his younger brother, who's a pro boxer, has his own accounting firm. And for me, I was just like, how did they, like, what is it like? I'm a 24-year-old at the time. I'm like trying my best, you know, to do stuff. And I was like, how do they do this? What, like, how do they find the time to do this? How do they get all of this discipline to do this? And then I'm working with their father one day. And father takes a break, prays Asa. He comes back into the container. I'm helping him clear a container, shipping container. Comes back in, I ask him about religion, I ask him about Islam. I'm like, so like, you know, tell me about it a bit. And we have a 2-hour conversation about Islam, about Christianity, about religion. And the last thing I remember saying to him was like, you know, the thing I don't like is like how people compare science and religion.
Yes. Okay.
I don't like that. I think they're the same coin, but they're different sides of the same coin. And he was like, oh, you know, Islam is a religion of science. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you know, the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was able to describe the shape of an embryo 1,400 years ago. It's accurate to this day. And I was like, really? It's like, yeah. I walked outside and there was no clouds in the sky and the sun just flicked in my eyes. And I like, even at that time, I was like, in my mind, I was lost. I had everything like in uni. At uni, I had friends, like girls, like party, like everything.
Okay.
And it just still felt empty. Like my business was like, my personal training business was going really well. I was playing good rugby. But when I was by myself, I just felt nothing. Felt nothing. I felt empty.
Okay.
And then it felt just like if I kept going to this stuff, it would give me a temporary like joy or relief or happiness. And then when that temporary joy, relief or happiness goes away, I want it even more.
Oh, you want it more.
Yeah, I want it even more. I want to go back. I want that stuff even more. So it's like sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the sun flicked in my eyes, I was just like, oh, maybe this is like a sign, me coming back. This is my time for me to come back to God. And I walked back into the container and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll become Muslim today. My friend's dad was like, Muhammad Dib, he's a good man, great man. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'll become Muslim. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah. And then he took me to his friend's garage down the next street. I just washed up. I took my shahada, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. And when I took my shahada, like, I feel like there's the wind. I felt like the wind. I felt like there's nothing, I'm not physical being.
Okay.
I feel like something could just pass through me. I felt all of this light on my shoulders and my neck and the back of my head just lift off. And to this day, I've never had anything like that. Maybe I'll have that feeling when I go to Hajj, inshallah. But like, to this day, I've never had a feeling anything like that again. Before that, I've never felt anything like that again. And then from there, it's not like I've become like a good Muslim straight away. I just take my shahada and like for 4 or 5 years, I think, oh, I'm Muslim now. And I just go to the masjid on Fridays and pray and try to do my prayers, my fard prayers and stuff like that. But I didn't realize like I had to do the work to change. Like, I didn't really change who I was. I didn't change anything. I just would call myself a Muslim and I'd go to prayer on Friday and try to do my prayers sometimes. But like in my actions, behavior and conduct, it was still the same as before. So like even though I had this great feeling from Shahada, I didn't realize I had to actually do the work. You know, and then not until 5 year later, and 4 or 5 years later, and then that's when the opportunity to come to Malaysia to be in a Muslim country, because I'm still in an environment where I was doing the same things as before, which is not conducive to Islam. So like I knew I had to change my environment for me to really change.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You were already comfortable, and then but you felt a bit and
like
the
in
emptiness.
dunya, I had living in Bondi Beach, like good job, like friends, like
Yeah, and then all
everything.
your sports,
playing
all
rugby,
that, all that,
everything.
yeah.
But none of like, if you're playing for the wrong reasons or if you're doing anything for the wrong reasons, you never feel satisfied about it. You don't get the joy out of it. you
Then
know?
how was the hardship or the journey of going to a new place to start something new and even to continue what you love, which is sports and movement, which is dance and all? Yeah, how did you venture towards that?
I saw it as like a challenge, of course, but I'm not really like afraid of anything. I like doing things. I like having challenges. This is not from me either. This is just from how my parents are. Like my parents grew up in a third world country.
Okay.
My father was a farmer, like my father was a teenage farmer, like farmer from a child, and he moved to New Zealand. My mum moved to New Zealand on their own when they were young, when they were teenagers. So like they moved away from their homes. So in one generation, they were like growing up in developing like third world country in kampung, like kampung, And in one generation, they've had 4 kids that all went through private education, private schooling in a top 10 GDP country in the world. We all went to university in one generation. So like when I think about it, when I think about my journey's easy.
Yeah.
My journey's easy compared to what my parents went through. So like nothing I do will be as difficult as what my parents do.
Okay.
So I never look at it as like, oh, this is hard, this is difficult, this is a challenge. Of course, like sometimes you get friction that makes you like, sometimes you like, your belief is tested, your faith is tested, of course. But like, as soon as I start thinking about what my parents went through to get me where I am, it just humbles me to the point where I'm like, shut up, stop being like, sometimes I'll be sad and I'll be like, then I'll think about like what my mum and dad could have been doing at the same time, like, then I think like, oh, shut up, stop being a little like, it straightens me out. So it's not really like anything. The difficulties I go through are nothing in comparison to the difficulties my parents have gone through to put me in the position to experience the life that I've lived. And I'm so happy and grateful. I've experienced such a rich life. Like I'm 35 now, no car, no home, no wife, no kids, no nothing. So like it's easy for people to look at me and say, oh, this guy's a loser. And sometimes I feel that way. But at the same time, the experiences I've had in my life, the knowledge that I've learned and the people that I've met, I wouldn't trade a thing. I wouldn't trade a thing for the journey that I've had.
Nice. Yeah. It's kind of like, in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad SAW, hijrah. Yeah. So I think when you were like sharing like the migration of your family and yourself is really interconnected to the religion aspect as well. And
I actually didn't even know. Like someone like last year was like, someone else like someone else like they actually traveled away from their home for the benefit of their religious practice. And I was like, really? Who was that? And it's like Prophet Muhammad. I was like, oh, did he? Like, he did that too. So I didn't even know. Like in my head, I didn't even know he went like from Mecca to Medina and everything. I didn't even understand that part of the story. And I didn't even relate those two things, that thing to my journey. I didn't even process it like that until someone told me. I was like, oh, cool. And like Islam has just brought me so much joy, and it makes me just be fearless in like my choices when it comes to sport. It makes me just allows me to just put sport as, oh, I am so grateful that I'm this blessed to be in a position where I'm this age and I can still play a game.
Okay. So how did the rugby and all still continue? So you said, okay, personally, you went from this side of yourself, understanding yourself, finding the way of yourself. But you said by doing all the rugby and all is just to fill a gap. Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was just like me going through the motions.
Yeah.
Just because I'd been doing it. And like in the rugby, like I'm talking about Islam a lot because it's made me realize who I really am. For a long time, I'm like a square peg and I'm trying to fit myself in a triangle hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not like this corporate kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. I'm an athlete. And because I've had like traumatic experiences with coaches just trying to make me like a tough guy, a tough man, like I'd act tough. Like I've had those bad experiences where it took the joy out of sport for me.
So you couldn't find yourself, and when you maybe not gonna say find yourself, but there's a pathway that you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
Did that make you feel that you want to venture to more different kind of sports disciplines?
No, I always just actually the ballet thing was because I was lost in the mall. Like, I was lost in one Monkiara.
Okay.
Okay,
and
specific.
I was looking for a sporting goods shop. There's a Sports Direct. Or
Okay.
Can I mention them?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. Shout out Sports Direct. Give me a sponsorship. No, I was looking for the shop and then I was on the wrong level and then I saw this like nice like gold frames on the walls and stuff like that. I was like, what's that? That looks really nice. I walked inside and there's like red velvet on the walls and the classical art and there's a person playing piano. And like piano is like my favorite instrument because in the church choir they play a lot of organ.
Okay.
A lot of organs. So
Yeah.
like, and my little brother used to play piano and you'd fill the house with piano music every weekend. So it would just be like, I love piano. And then I just saw someone doing ballet. And there was a lady behind the desk. This is Asia Ballet Academy at Kiara. The best, I just want to say, one of the best organized training environments I've ever been in.
Okay.
I've been in different sports, different levels of different sports. I've been in sports in Australia where they have good coaching or great coaching and all of this stuff. No. She's like, have you ever done ballet? I was like, no. She's like, would you like to try? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then she's like, okay, fill out this form and then come to our trial session tomorrow. Filled out the form, came for the trial session. And I was okay. It was difficult, but like after the class, the teacher and the other ballet dancers were like, you're actually like, you have the rhythm. There's a rhythm that you have. And this is what ballet training has brought to MMA for me.
MMA pula, okay.
So MMA, when you're in your fighting, any
Okay.
type of fight, you need to have timing. You know, and in rugby, you need to have timing as well. So, like, I call it the contact zone in rugby. So, like, here's me, and about 2 meters in front of me, that's the contact zone. So, like, when there's two people coming and we're running, and I've got the ball or he's got the ball, before the contact zone, you have to make a decision what you're going to do. So, like, if I've got the ball, I'm always going to wait until the contact zone, until the defender makes his decision what he's going to do. If he's going to tackle low, then I'm just going to wait to see if he's going to dip. And then when he dips, I'm going to crunch him with my hips. So I'm going to step in towards him, crunch him with my hips, my body, and I'm going to dip him low. But if I see him coming into the contact zone and he's high at the contact zone, then I'm just going to fend him in the chest. You know? So that's that like split seconds decision making, that timing, that comes into range in MMA fighting. So that's a range thing in MMA fighting. So that's how I find my range. But in MMA, it's so much easier because you're not running 100% of like speed.
Okay.
You're just standing. So when people do takedowns in MMA, I don't have a ball and he's coming from a standing start. So the hit is a lot less velocity. So I can transfer that knowledge and information from rugby into MMA. And then from ballet is done on an 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In that 8 count, you move your arm. So like in a Grand Plie, your arm will go 1, 2, 3,
So you're
4,
moving your arm,
5,
okay.
6, 7, 8.
Okay.
I know my arm has to go from here to here to here in an 8 count.
Okay.
And I know it has to be even. So I have to measure 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
Okay.
you're literally putting time into space. You literally become a practitioner of physics with that. And you're timing your movement. So you understand like where you're going to be. So I take that rhythm and that timing from ballet and I'd put it into my punches. So when you punch, you say you're going to throw a left hook. So when you throw a left hook, you go like this and then this. So you want to launch, you want to throw the left hook. There's a little bit of space here. Oh, that's
Okay.
fine. You want to throw the left hook. You want to
Turn.
load it up.
Yeah, okay.
So 1, 2, 1, 2. You can almost just go 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can take that vehicle of seeing time and space, and you can put it into different aspects.
Okay.
Making things some of a priority.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like just training timing.
Yeah.
Just training timing. Just training rhythm. There's no other way to just train timing other than dancing. You know,
Yeah.
like
Every count has a purpose.
Yeah,
There's
has a
beat,
purpose.
the beat, there's purpose. So it relates to, like you said, how Samoan dancing relates to rugby, how ballet relates to MMA.
Because for me, it's all movement.
Yeah.
For me, it's all just movement. Like I don't see them as.
Does that make you different from other MMA fighters then?
I
Yeah,
guess a bit, yeah. I guess a bit. Because, like, a lot of MMA fighters, a lot of people have this conception, like, the same thing in rugby. Like, oh, I'm just a tough fighter. I'm just going to smash everyone. Oh, I'm just tough. Like, if everyone that fights is tough, if this is your thing, then you're not going to go very far. The skilled fighter, the smart fighter, the calm fighter, those are the guys that are really dangerous. The tough guy is not that dangerous because everyone in MMA is tough.
Yeah.
That's like a prerequisite. You can't make that like your whole thing. You can't make and like in fighting, like I've had 4 fights now. When you step into the ring, everything you've done in training like amplifies by the amount of people in the crowd. So
Okay.
there's like my first fight, there's about 500 people in the crowd in my first boxing fight. Everything I'd done in the ring amplified about 500. I was like, oh, that's sick. That's awesome. That like feels really cool. You know, so everything you do in the ring when you're fighting, it's amplified by the amount of people there is in the crowd. You know, and you feel the energy. You can feed off the energy, or you can let the energy kind of scare you. Luckily, I can feed off the energy. I enjoy it because I played in front of crowds, played rugby in front of crowds, like growing up all my life. In our school, we have like generally 1,000 people coming to watch our games, you know, and the audience was there. And there's so many different aspects you can get energy from.
So, after what we heard, and just now, the earlier of the topic, earlier of the starting of the show, me and Carl, we spoke about like sports artists and what do we think about what sport artist is, but we didn't really ask from you, since you yourself say, like sports artists, what do you feel, and off camera just now. So why don't you share to the audience, like actually, what is your definition of a sports artist?
Sports artists, like I just like similar to a graffiti artist.
Okay.
You see a graffiti artist, he doesn't look at the traditional canvas as being canvas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anywhere he can paint, that's where he paints.
Okay.
Anywhere I can move, that's how I'm going to move. Any way I can move, that's how I'm going to move. Just because someone says you have to run like this or you have to do things like this, if I know I can do it another way, I feel like, and this is like something I feel like in Asia, there's a big assimilation. Everyone does things all of the same way.
Okay.
And if you step out of line from doing the same thing, I'd say in Australia it's the same thing as well, but I feel a lot more here. I feel like there's no room for individuals.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem for me as well in rugby. I've always been myself.
Okay.
So people see me as a diva,
Okay.
but like they're generally Land Cruisers, and I'm a Ferrari. Like I need to do different things.
Yes,
you
yes.
know, like I'm a different kind of athlete. It's not
Need to drive a different road.
need to drive a different road, need premium fuel, need to have
Yeah.
different things.
Because some
But-
people would think like I'm an athlete, or like I'm doing this sports. So it's very unique to hear that you don't. For once, I did not hear you say as like to be an athlete. You keep on saying to do different kinds of sports. So
Yeah.
does that define you as a sport artist?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like someone who like I don't even see it as an act of rebellion, but I just want to do things like the way I want to do them. And if I know I can do them and do it good in a way that I like to do it, then I'm not going to let like a coach or like some people tell me like, oh, you can't do it like that. If I know, especially if I know it works. And I feel like as an artist as well, like this suppresses our self-expression. Like this assimilation, having to do things all the same way. And I feel like this is a big reason why people have mental health issues and things like that, because they can't express themselves in a way. You know, and like what we were talking about with the ballet and stuff like that before, and learning how to express myself non-verbally. Like, and now that I can do ballet, when I do ballet, I express emotions that I don't even have words for.
Yeah.
I just I could just feel it in my body. I can't even explain. You know,
The flow.
Like I can feel these things non-verbally now. And like when you think about ballet, when you think about a ballet show,
Okay.
there's no words.
Yes.
So when you watch Swan Lake, you have to pick up what's happening through the tones of the music, through the tempo of the music, through the tempo of the movement, through the rhythm of the movement, through the movement of the dancers themselves. You have to pick up what's happening non-verbally. So I feel like for myself, like I like expressing myself as many different ways as possible, whether it's non-verbally, whether it's through song, whether it's through movement, whatever way. And it makes me feel free. It makes me feel free. It makes it like when I express myself non-verbally, it makes my soul feel free. Yeah.
Same goes like all the sports that it does. It doesn't have to be verbally. It's all movements also.
Yeah, I mean that's why we enjoy football. And also when you just said about that, I just recalled to last season's episode with Sarina, a Malaysian gymnast, about movement, and I was like, I'm trying to link this together. But yeah, it's correct because like, you know, it's an Olympic sport. I mean, gymnastics.
Yeah, gymnastics is amazing, incredible.
Yeah.
Rhythmic gymnastics is beautiful. Like when you watch it, you feel like crying. Like when I watched like the first time I watched the ballet show when I was doing ballet, like we were doing Giselle, which is a famous ballet show, and I was watching the rehearsal for the first time, and there was one dance where I just couldn't even tears just started falling out of my eyes when I was watching it. When I was watching the ballet dance, it was just so beautiful, expressing themselves in a way. And I couldn't even tell you why I started crying, but just tears started. Like there's something deeper than words that movement gives us.
What I can say from what I hear is like creativity. If you have it, doesn't stop you for doing whatever you want to do.
No.
Yeah. So it's up to you yourself to express.
Yeah,
in
express and explore.
any type of form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a t-shirt right there. Express and explore.
because like your journey
Let's do it.
from like rugby to Samoan dance to ballet to MMA, and I'm sure we haven't really like pinpoint what sports he does, but I believe like you've touched a lot.
I play if there's a ball, if there's a score, if there's like competition in it, or if
Teammates.
there's like I'm there.
Teammates,
Like, I don't care.
individual, doubles,
I'll give it a
or,
try.
mate,
If there's
yeah.
team, if it's single, if it's like anything, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
Because that's how you enhance your creativeness.
Yeah.
By doing a certain sports arc. You know?
Or like just learning. There's so many different ways to do things. Like there's so many different aspects of different sports that are like such minute little things. So like when I train boxing, the first time I trained boxing, I was 23.
Okay.
I was 23 years old. I went into a gym in Sydney, Eastern Suburbs, PCYC. And I went to the gym to just lift weights with my friends, and I saw the boxing gym over there. Went over to the boxing coach. I was like, can I join? And he was like, yeah, but you don't punch. You just walk backwards and forwards like this. So I had to walk backwards and forwards with my feet like this. And I thought I was a good athlete at the time. But when I was doing it, I was just taking 10 steps forward, and I was like, why are my hips hurting? Like taking 10 steps backwards, making sure that your feet are separate on a line. So once I realized how, I thought, I could be a handy boxer at the time. And then I couldn't even walk forwards and backwards properly as a boxer would. You know, there has to be a line between your legs that keeps your feet separate. So when your feet are like this, you got no balance. When your feet are like this, foot behind the front foot, you got no balance to throw any punches. They have to also be in a box almost. So you see my foot here. This is a diagonal line, and then there is a box.
So basically, to the listeners out there, I'm actually quite amazed by this because I've never heard boxing too is actually a box. So basically what Viko is telling us is how you position yourself.
Your feet.
Your feet.
In a box.
Is actually in a box. And he's actually showing to me and Carl the right way of standing, or maybe the technique.
Yeah.
Not right way, but the technique.
The best way to throw punches so you can be balanced.
Is box.
Yeah, so you can have balance when you're punching.
Hence why boxing.
Yeah.
Well, we get a box.
Betul ke? So Nut Boy, as producer, I think you should try to bring a boxer soon. But so but he also can see because he does boxing as well.
23.
Yeah. So at the time, it was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty mind blown now because I did not know.
And then from there, it clicked to me because at the time I was playing rugby in Sydney, and I was still struggling with the whole need to be tougher kind of thing. But then when I learnt this, I did one session at the PCYC gym, just walking forwards and backwards. It was like, your feet have got to be in a box. You know, there's a diagonal line between your feet.
Yes.
And then there's a box around it. So imagine this line here, a line here, a line here, a line here. And then this is the diagonal line that separates your feet.
Yeah.
And then that night, I was inspired. I lived in Bondi. So I went to the eastern suburbs cricket field, and there's a football field next to it.
Yes.
And I just walked every night for, I don't know how long I did it, for a few months. Every night I'd go, after I finished work, I'd walk to the field, and there'd be a straight line, the sideline of the football field. And I'd have my right foot on the right side of the sideline and my left foot on the left side of the sideline. And I'd just walk up 100 meters of the field, walk up like that, just step, step, step. And then I'd step back, just taking all 100 meters. And I'd do it 10 times every night until it got comfortable. Before that, it was never comfortable.
Okay.
The first time I did it, it felt so uncomfortable. But until when I got comfortable with it, then I started seeing how other people put their feet. And I started seeing Floyd Mayweather also almost puts his feet, his feet aren't pointing at his opponent. His feet are almost pointing 90 degrees away from his opponent. And I started thinking, what does that do?
Aku dah mula nak cuba.
But when you do that, when your feet are pointing at your opponent, your knee is over your toe. So that means your hip is going to be over your knee.
Okay.
That means your chin is going to be over your hip. So your chin is over your knee. But when you point your knee away, it drives your hip back.
Okay.
Which also pushes your chin back, which buys you half a second. And sometimes half a second is all you need to be able to avoid a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you got the range of Floyd. So these kind of things I just started seeing just from understanding my own body, from understanding my own biomechanics from young, just from questioning my own biomechanics, just from developing my own movement patterns and things like that. So then I started boxing like that. Now my fight stance is about 45 degrees. I point my feet about 45 degrees and I have my feet in the box. and that allows me to my head is already back here, but I've got long arms as well, so like it allows me to protect my chin quite well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was boxing, and then rugby, and then now are you still doing ballet?
I practice more at home now.
Okay.
But I'll be going back into the studio hopefully next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the point of this recording.
The question is, actually, all of us are not actually like kalau whoever who loves sports, we don't actually stick to one. So we try to play and cuba all different types of sports, like what you are actually doing.
Yeah.
But for you to take it up seriously, like you said, you go to fights for MMA. You do you take the ballet seriously. So how do you balance actually?
It's not so much balance. Like you have to prioritize one. Like when I was fighting 2 years ago, I was doing my own promotion. I was managing myself. I was coaching myself. I was training myself, of course.
Yeah.
And then I was getting my own sponsors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was doing ballet. So like 1 week I had a fight, and then the next week I had a ballet production.
Okay.
And during that time, I would be training and going to ballet rehearsals at the same time. So like, in terms of like how to balance it, I don't know. I just do it. You just do it.
You run sometimes, because we ran before together.
Brand New Ways. Shout out Brand New Ways.
So like, how do you and also your job that you have outside?
Yeah, so like I just live quite simply. So like when I train people, I just live off the training money, but I don't need to do anything. I don't need to spend money on anything.
Okay.
I just need to spend money on my food that makes me that I eat and pay my rent, whatever. But now I've got a manager and a gym and an opportunity to be a professional MMA fighter and a clear pathway to get into the UFC, inshallah. You know, I don't have to do anything. I just my life is sorted, alhamdulillah.
Do you have to change your discipline?
Not really. Like I just have to wake up in the morning, pray Fajr. Then after I pray Fajr, I go for a run, 10K run.
Okay.
After I come back, I do 1 hour body weights. And then I'll just rest for a shower. And then I'll have breakfast, refuel, rest for an hour. And then I'll just do some work on the computer, whatever I have to do. Sometimes I have to send pitch decks out. Sometimes I have to do presentations for people.
Okay.
Just little things like this, just to get by. And then I'll have a session in the afternoon at about 5 o'clock where I'll just do like technical stuff, slow technical stuff. But at the moment, I'm lucky over the past 2 months, I've had my manager come in and just say, I just want you to focus on training. Like, I'm going to take care of everything in your life. Like, we take care of your rent, take care of food. I want you, he believes in my ability as a fighter. Okay. Alhamdulillah, lucky. I'm very lucky. And this guy's worked with Conor McGregor, with Anderson Silva. He knows MMA fighters. He knows that fighters. So for him to say to me, like, I believe in you this much that I'm just going to put you in a house and we're going to move your coach here with you and we're going to just sort out your food. All I want you to do is fight. So before, when I was fighting, doing everything by myself, like, in 4 fights, I made 55,000 ringgit.
Okay.
And it burnt me out, though. It burnt me out, and it also, like, doing everything by myself burnt me out as a fighter. And then I stopped fighting, like, stopped training as hard as I could because I had my energy split into all different directions. So I wouldn't say you try to do so many disciplines. That's, like, even though I was doing ballet at the same time, I wouldn't do it as seriously now if I'd known what I know now. Okay. That I would get burnt out over a minute. Like, even though I was balancing these things out, I wouldn't do it the same way as I did before. But if I knew that the path to burnout was so close, you know. And then the path to burnout, when you get to like when I started getting burnt out, I started getting jaded a bit. And I started becoming a bit arrogant. Like, all of this stuff is because of me. I did all this. I'm the man. Like, and then Allah gave me all of this stuff quickly. But then when he took it away really slowly. And he took it away in a way that I couldn't even grab it. Like he took it so slow, I could just only watch things float away from me. So then I realized like, I have to change more things about my life.
The goal is a personal goal now. It's UFC.
For my personal goal now is UFC. So like over the next 5 years, I want to be like, I want to fight till I'm 40.
Okay.
But at the same time, practice ballet in my own way. Like limit my ballet practice to probably like 3 sessions a week where I'm getting good. Because I know after I've finished MMA, that's like 40 years of me doing ganas activities, like rough activities.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take a toll.
It's taking a toll, and it's also like boring for me. Like eventually it gets to the point where you're like, I've done this all my life. I want to learn something new. And also like as someone, as Pacific Islander, I see like I want daughters one day. I want to have daughters one day. I see a lot of like Samoans, Pacific Islanders, they put their daughters into rugby.
Okay.
I don't want that for my daughters. I want to be able to be well versed in ballet by the time I have children, by the time I have daughters, that I can be well versed enough that I can take them into a ballet school and I can teach them, have them do something that's more towards a feminine nature.
Yes.
And
yes.
I want to be well versed in it before then. So I'm planning. A lot of it is about planning beforehand.
I see.
Who I want to be when I'm 40, who I want to be when I'm 45, what type of dad I want to be at that point, and things like that. Yeah.
Nice.
So, from the start just now, you've shared with us your personal, not basically sporting journey, basically journey about life lah kan.
Because like everything is, for me, everything is everything.
Everything is connected.
Yeah, everything is everything. It's all, you know, all of it is just one. I can't separate things. I don't like to separate things so much. I like to see the similarities. Separating things is what causes friction between people. Because when people look at what separates them, maybe there's 4 things that separate them. Religion, skin color, gender,
Yes.
like orientation, whatever it is. 4 or 5 things that might separate people. And you focus on those things, but you don't focus on the similarities. I'd prefer to focus on all the similarities between all things. I'd prefer to focus on that and find like, where are the links between this that I can create? Yeah.
What I like understand that he personally, you actually just shared that you have this passion in something.
Yeah.
You find yourself by doing this passion.
Fulfillment.
Fulfillment to do this passion. Doesn't matter what type of discipline it is.
Yeah.
So at this point of time, it's MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just where life takes you, you just go along
Well,
with
like
it. is
also
it?
like even though I'm talking a lot and express myself like a lot, like at the same time, in many ways, like this is all I have. This is it. I'm good at fighting. When I say I'm good at fighting, I don't mean that from a place of like, I'm the best fighter or anything. I mean that from a place of like, this is all I have. Like everything else, bodola. Like
I see.
working, like university, like working jobs, like fail everything. Business ventures, like not go well. Partnership, fail.
Okay.
Marriage, fail. Like
Okay.
all of these things I've failed at in my life. But I can say the only thing I have is being an athlete and being a fighter and being a trainer. And I won't let anyone like
Take
take
that.
that from me. That's the only thing I have. All these other things, I'm barely competent.
Yes.
You know, so this is the only thing I have. And for me, like when people say you're passionate about it, it's like, for me, I don't pursue passions because I'm
Okay.
passionate about a lot of things that
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to be good at. But a passion is like your emotions. They change on a whim.
Okay.
They do.
So for me, it's more about like finding out what you're skilled at without like much effort, what you can be competent at without much effort,
Okay.
and then becoming dedicated to that to the point where you develop a passion for it.
Whoa. Fascinating. No, I mean, like, again, I appreciate I think we both appreciate, and also the audience listening appreciate the vulnerability that you've presented, throughout this whole podcast episode, and how not only how everything is interconnected and how to be your true self.
Yeah.
I think that's what's important to any of us who wants to pursue things in arts, sports, or even life.
Yeah.
So I think that's a commonality with the podcast that we've been doing, is that having the confidence to be vulnerable, to be yourself, is really important. So again, thank you for that, for sharing.
I don't even see it as confidence. I see, like, when I'm not myself, I feel like I'm a caged bird. So it's not even confidence. It's either like
To be free.
to be free.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not myself, I'm not doing the things I love, then I'm just causing myself anxiety through making choices that are not conducive towards who I want to be.
May I change the word of confidence to more calm of knowing yourself?
Like knowing yourself.
Having the calmness of like knowing who you are and what you want to achieve. Like you mentioned, as you want to know where you are when you're 40, when you're 45, 50, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The reason is sebab, like, I feel every one of us, whoever's listening now, you're driving,
Taking the train.
Whoever is listening to this, for the start till where we are now, everyone has always personally find things that is not like fully right to themselves, and everyone is actually finding their own personal ways to fulfill what criteria, what things, what needs they need to for themselves. Tak kisahlah sports ke, life ke, like you said, it's just a matter. So how you said and how vulnerable you were to share how you actually go through all this to find your personal way. I believe it's very inspiring to listen to your journey. And to me, if to the people out there actually listening, and maybe they are envious that actually, oh, you found this for yourself. I haven't. How can you tell to them? Like, wow, how do you, like, maybe not to find the confidence, to find the calm? Because some people, very hard for them to find the calmness in whatever they are doing.
I feel like, for me, even when I was going through schooling, going through education, people would be like, oh, what do you want to do after uni? What job are you studying for? I just wanted to go to school to learn. I just want to go to uni to learn, not necessarily for a job. When I was a kid, all I wanted was more time with my parents.
Okay.
But they worked, my mum worked night shift, 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. My dad worked 12-hour days. So the only time I really got to spend with my parents was like when my dad was driving me to, like, my favorite time is like my dad, like, just driving me to rugby training and like just not even talking, just driving to rugby training.
Just to be.
Just spending time with my dad, bro. Like, just spending time with him in the car, just driving to training.
Yeah.
Driving home from training, just not even talking. Just, that was my favorite time.
Okay.
And all I ever wanted was like just more time with my parents.
Okay. Yes.
That's it. That's all I ever wanted when I was a kid. And how do I do that? How do I grow up and do that? That's allowed me to sort of be like, oh, I don't even want a job. And then when I was young, I started my own businesses from young.
Yes.
Like drawing Pokemon when I was like 11.
Oh, nice.
Drawing Pokemon, drawing Dragon Ball Z characters when I was like 11, 12 years old. Selling them to students. They're like selling Neopets, building Neopets on the computers, selling them to my classmates.
Yeah.
And then I got into high school and I'd be like burning CDs and like making mixtape CDs and like burning movies and burning DVDs and burning games and like selling to my classmates and stuff like that. So from that 11-year-old, when I sold my first like picture of Goku to a classmate, from that, I just knew like I don't have to do the job that my mom and dad do that takes them away from me like all the time. That's me makes me not be. I don't have to do things the way that they do them. And this is I think this is the core of me having that attitude where a lot of people see I have an attitude problem when I don't want to do things the way they want to do, force me to do them. It's not. I just like have this from young. I just want to do things my own way. And for me, if I don't have the room to be myself, the room to be myself non-negotiable. If I don't have it, I don't care how much money you can offer me. I don't care how much money I can make working with you. If I don't have that room to be myself, it's non-negotiable. I'm not interested. I don't care. I'd rather be broke and feel free than be trapped in a cage with gold bars. I'd rather that. I'd rather be broke and be free.
Fair.
And I feel it's difficult when you're growing through this, especially when you're in your 20s and your 30s and things like that, and you feel like people are advancing in life. So like, but now I'm 35 and alhamdulillah, I'm in good health, good mental health, good physical health, good spiritual health, alhamdulillah. And I feel like when I look around at other people my age, I feel like the health that I have in those 3 phases is rare. So I feel like blessed. So even though like it was hard for me to make this decision to say like, no, that's not for me. No, that's not for me. No matter how much money was on the table, it was difficult. I went through times where I didn't eat, didn't have anything. But the freedom that I feel now in my body, in my spirit, in my mind is priceless.
So to tell the people out there, so to just write with
do what you want. There's something you want to do and you got to do it, but because you have a mask on at your job and your career, then you have a mask on, you put your job mask on and you have that mask on all the time. Take that mask off when you finish your job and then do what you want outside of that 8 hours when you have that mask on for 8 hours. Wear that mask, but make sure you take that mask off after the 8 hours done, and then the rest of the 16 hours of your day, do what you want, live how you want to be who you want to be, enjoy your life, enjoy the little things, I just like walking around and looking at things, like walking around. People look at me when I'm walking around, like, look at this lost guy, like they'll see me like just walking. Like I've had people come up to me and be like, I always just see you like walking around. It's like, yeah, bro, like. Nice to walk around, like I've got legs, like it's nice to look at the sky. It's nice to look at how the light of the sun hits the leaves. It's nice to smell the grass,
the details.
It's nice to feel all of these little details. Even when you're in the shopping mall, it's nice to feel the chill of the air conditioning. It's nice to look at all of the different packaging and how all the different packaging planted together makes different patterns. All of these little things are nice to look at, and you can enjoy all of these little things when you enjoy your senses, when you enjoy non-verbal communication, like when you enjoy having your senses. It's a blessing to be able to see. It's a blessing to be able to speak, to be able to smell things, to be able to hear, to be able to touch and to feel. It's a blessing.
Wow.
So if you have all of these blessings, this is what I would say, like when you finish your work, take your work mask off. And enjoy the blessings of your senses. Enjoy the blessings of your sight. Enjoy the blessings of your mind. Enjoy the blessings of your thought patterns. Enjoy the blessings of being able to move. Enjoy all of these little things. Because these little things, they're for free. They're for us. They've been given to us for free. And sports is a field when I'm in sport, every one of my senses and every fiber of my body feels alive.
Yeah. Wow. So to the people out there, do you want to know from Viko's perspective? There you go.
There you go. Nice.
Before we end to the final segment, we would like for you to like, if people want to know more about you and all, where can they reach you, and also for you to give a shout out to whoever that has made who you are today.
Okay. I've been writing a book actually for about like conducting research for a book since about 2011. So it's about 13 years now. It's called Core Health Program. So you can find it on Instagram, CoreHealthProgram. Core Health Program. I've not really posted so much on it, but for me, it's a book about what I call the three spheres of perception: the mind, the body, and the soul. mental, physical, and the spiritual. There are a lot of health issues today, and that's because the world just focuses on the physical. We just see things as physical things. We don't see things but the mental and the spiritual exist in the conscious realm. The physical, the body that exists in this physical being, that's our vehicle. Our mental and our spiritual exists inside our physical. So I explore the tangible links between the mind, the body, and the soul. And the mind I write up as being the nervous system and the digestive system together. So the nervous system is the electronic pathway that guides your body. Digestive system in your gut has as many neurons in your gut as you do in your brain. So it's a big effector in making decisions. Your body, your physical is made out of your musculoskeletal system. So your muscles and your bones and your ligaments and cartilage and everything in between. The frame of your body, the solidity of your body, and your integumentary system, which is your skin, which is the casing of your body. And then the spiritual, the soul, is made up of the cardiorespiratory system, your heart, your lungs, your blood, your arteries, everything.
This is all in the book.
This is all in the book. This is all mine. And then your endocrine system. So the endocrine system is your hormones, your neurotransmitters, the things that decide what your mood is going to be, the dopamine releases, the endorphin releases, all of that kind of thing. The ghrelin releases when you're hungry. So this book is how to balance all three of those phases.
So do tell the audience where... Yeah,
the book is coming soon.
Where can you find...
Just find my Instagram, Core Health Program. And I have some interesting content about it. We're actually have an exciting meeting next week about this. So like inshallah, at time of
recording.
Recording.
Yeah. And also, do you want to give like a special thanks to anyone who?
I want to say I've been going through a difficult time in the last couple of years. So just to my friends that have really looked out to me, Tunku Michelle Ibrahim, like my brother, he's taken care of me since I've known him the last 7 years. Him and all of his people have been wonderful to me. Thank you so much. To my manager, Caesar, he has a gym opening up in Patama Complex in KL City. It will be open next month. Thank you for believing in my ability as an MMA fighter. To my striking coach, Michi, thank you for believing in my ability as an MMA fighter. And to my brother Ali, he's my textile partner. So we're coming out with the Islamic modest
textile
activewear range as well. So hopefully we have a meeting about that at the time of filming next week. And I'm excited to make some. It's called Nawa. Nawa means nucleus in Arabic. So modesty is like the nucleus, one part of the nucleus of what I feel Islam is about. And we're going to be making like modest Islamic clothes, but traditional styles with like modern cuts. So I'm really excited about these things, and I'm really excited to be able to express myself in these different fields. I want to thank God. Ya Allah, thank you for everything. Ya Allah, thank you for everything. Alhamdulillah for everything. I thank my parents, thank my mum and dad, my siblings. I love you all. And that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
And Asia Ballet Academy. Shout out Asia Ballet Academy as well. Go to Asia Ballet Academy. I swear to God, it will change your life.
Okay.
Nice style.
It's a very fun way to wrap the whole journey of Viko Sulaiman. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor actually for me and Carl to be here to listen. And I believe to all the listeners out there who have gone through listening from the start to the end, it would take a lot from what he has said. All right. So let's move to the final segment.
Yeah.
Before we end the show, this is basically a quick fire question, rapid questions to ask you who you support or who you like, what is it, and all. So the first question is there any sports club do you support? Any local or international kind of sports club?
Manly Sea Eagles.
Sea
The Manly Sea Eagles, the NRL team. So like NRL is a rugby league.
Rugby league, yeah. National Rugby League.
I've never even lived in Manly. Like I live 2,000 kilometers away from Manly in Australia. I grew up far away from Manly, but I remember when I was like 5 and 6, my big sister and I, love you for, we supported Manly. And then like,
Sea Eagles,
as I aged, as I got older, like I just loved the way that the club plays. They just play like tough smash mouth football. And they have some exciting outside backs always. So they've just got tough big boppers, forwards in the middle that just bash people, and then they just got fast guys on the side who just score tries. And I've always loved the way the club plays. Always enjoyed the way the club plays. And enjoy the fans. There's a big sign in the stands usually that says, because people hate people from Manly, supposedly, because Manly is like a North Shore, like in Sydney, northern beaches kind of place. So people think they're arrogant. Everyone hates them. And then there's a big sign in the stands that says, Manly hates you too. So it's like talking to no one, but it's just like, for me, it's always been one of my favorite sports sign I've ever seen. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So following question, it's a 2-part question. Is there a sport that you, because we're a sports podcast, because we want to help as many people as possible to learn and give them exposure. So the first question is there a sport that you want us to call that you still want to learn?
Sepak takraw.
Okay.
Yeah. Sepak takraw.
Okay.
100%. This can be a massive game around the world. If this gets the funding, if this gets like the foundation it needs to grow around the world, like Southeast Asia like can have its first own global game around the world, where other countries have like football, like England made football and rugby and stuff like this, and Thailand made Muay Thai, and like Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is in Brazil. Like I feel this region, if they get the foundation, if Sepak takraw gets the foundation to become a big sport, this sport is an amazing spectacle. It creates amazing athletes like that. Most sports, anyone can go and try.
Yeah, not sepak takraw.
Not Sepak takraw.
Yeah, actually.
Fair. You have to be a different level of talent, natural talent, different level of coaching, and it has to be like years of experience before you can even play it, before you can even attempt it. So if this sport gets the foundation it needs to grow and be able to develop academies from young, it can become one of the most exciting sports in the world, and Malaysia can become one of the homes of. They can become something for this region.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nak boy, find someone from Sepak takraw. So the follow-up question is there any guest that you want us to bring?
From Sepak takraw?
No. From anywhere in the world.
Actually, there's one random girl I saw on TikTok, Laura Dinda or something. She's like got 1 million followers on TikTok, and she just plays Sepak takraw. When I watch it, I'm like, how do they do this? How do they play this? Like Laura Dinda or something. I can't even remember on TikTok. Like this is the first time I really like saw it. Like started watching Sepak. I'd seen people just kicking ball around before, and then I was like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But the first time I saw it on TikTok was like this girl, Laura Dinda. I can't even remember her name. I was just like, this is incredible. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So the next question is, who's your favorite athlete of all time?
Muhammad Ali.
And favorite coach of all time?
Nick Saban, former Alabama coach. So he's won the most college football titles as a coach. He's just retired this last year, but he's like tough as a coach. For me, like I had these problems with coaches trying to make me tough. Bro, be tougher. There's a difference between the coach that tries to make you tougher and a coach that is tough on you because he believes that you have more within you, that you're withholding yourself.
Okay.
There's a difference between those two coaches. And Nick Saban reminds me of these coaches who are tough on me because they believed that I had more within myself. And I think it's a matter of communication. These coaches that I think maybe they wanted to be like this. These coaches that I struggled with, that tried to make me tough, maybe they wanted to be like these coaches who made me feel like, even though he's tough on me, he's only tough on me because he knows I have more within me.
Fair.
You know? Yeah, and I think like now that I'm more mature, like back then when I was a bit younger, I was like, why do these coaches hate me so much? And but I think they just had a communication issue, or there was a communication issue, how they tried to make me a tougher person, or how they tried to make me tough, or they maybe didn't think I was tough because I was like a chiller person, you know. But these guys, like my coaches, like John Beaumont, like Nathan Booth, like Takashi, like these are my coaches from like when I was like 15, 16, like 11, 12, like these kind of coaches that I had. They were hard on me because they believed in me and they believed I had more within myself. These kind of coaches that I didn't mess so well with, it felt like they were just wanted me to be tougher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. Favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Friday Night Lights. Friday Night
Fair.
Lights.
Fair.
So like Friday Night Lights. All these sports movies, I like Mighty Ducks 2, I love, because it's like Mighty Ducks 2 is just a fun movie. But all of these sports movies, they're all like, yeah, we're victorious in the end. In Friday Night Lights, they don't win.
Yeah.
They lose on the last play of the game by 1 point. And that's the reality of sport. Sometimes you don't win.
Yeah.
Sometimes you give it your all. Sometimes your whole city supports you and you give everything you got and you're just 1 yard short. And that's sports. That's real life. Sometimes you get everything you got and that's real life. And that's why I love Friday Night Lights, because it's real. It's real.
It's your favorite sporting character from Friday Night Lights?
Yeah,
or?
Booby Miles.
Okay.
Yeah. This remind me of me when I'm feeling myself, when I'm in it, and I'm feeling good and I've trained good and I'm playing hard, I feel like untouchable. When I've been honest with myself, when I've been honest with my preparation and I've been disciplined with my training and I've been well rested, I feel unstoppable. It doesn't matter if I'm rugby or fighting or whatever. But also Booby Miles, the character, he's really good at rugby. Really good at football, great football player. Looks like he's destined to become an NFL star. But his story is personal. He's an orphan. He's raised by his grandfather. So when he does his knee in the field, when he injures his knee in the game and his season's over, and there's a scene where it's him and his grandfather in the car, and he's just in the car, like after his injury. He knows his season's over, his career's over, his life is over, he feels. And he's just crying to his uncle like, I don't know what else I can do. Like, I've got nothing else. All I know is football. That's all I can do. All this kid wanted to do is buy his grandfather a house.
Yeah.
That's what got him so dedicated to the point where he became the elite athlete, where all of his college scouts came from all over the country to come see him.
Now, the final one is do you have any quotes that you keep to yourself, or you still keep to the Muhammad Ali's quote?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
كل كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولأجن بمثله مددا.
That's beautiful.
If the ocean were ink to write the words of my Lord, it would be exhausted before the words of my Lord were finished, even if we were to refill it with another ocean.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I we're talking about being vulnerable and stuff like that, like everyone has struggles. For me to be like this now, to be this happy, a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
A lot of struggle. But the comforting, since I've become Muslim, the most comforting thing is the words of my Lord. And when I think about that verse, I just think about the words of my Lord being endless, being infinite. So the comfort is infinite.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Viko Sulaiman. All right, thank you everybody. Thank you, Viko.
Thank you so much,
for
guys.
sharing their whole journey to us. I don't think it's a whole. So it's just
It's just a
little bit.
Little bit.
There's a lot more. So if you guys want to know more. You guys want to know more? You can always reach out to Viko. What's your anywhere? How do they
Core
reach-
health
Core health
program.
program.
Core
yeah.
health program? Yeah. So you can just reach out and just get to know him more and to see his journey grow bigger and better. We from Better Call Sukan, we hope your journey as who you are will just take you wherever you go to be as free and to find yourself more every day as life takes you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and also thank you all to all listeners, to the audience, for listening to this episode. I think it's a very fulfilling episode. Thank you so much. It's about from the start to the end, staying with us. And if you have any other spots or any other stories that you think it's valuable to share to everyone, do let us know and we will definitely call them. Again, thank you so much, Viko. Any last words?
All good.
All right.
Assalamualaikum.
Alright.
Wassalam.
Tak, anything last words?
All good.
Dia dah jawab salam, so that was his last words to you and to everyone. So thank you everybody. My name is Arif Daniel.
My name is Carl.
My name is Viko Sulaiman
And
Mulyana.
we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Audio Plus.